of Shaved Dog's Ass. We are...
There it is. Got it.
We are recording, I believe. Yes, we are. Greetings, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Excellent.
Right. Excellent. Excellent. Release the hounds. Okay, let's get the notes, get it all zeroed out here. You guys ready to go live already?
I got a few bits coming in.
You need a minute there, Bago? Take your time.
No, I can do this in the back end, behind the scenes.
So, and Bacchus, you're batching it this weekend, huh?
Yeah, I am. My wife and son are out in Phoenix, Arizona. Down syndrome.
The Sunshine State.
Yeah, he's learning some new stuff.
Nice. All right. Now, let me do one other thing. I'm going to try and change my background a little. See if I can get a... That's probably better.
Where you fly out of, Fig? What city?
Denver. Based in Denver. On odd months, which this is one, I work at the training center as a job share standards captain, basically. I give check rides in the sim.
Sweet.
And then evens, I am out on the line.
Beautiful.
Doing it over to the dark side. All right. All right. I'm going to zero out the timestamp. And here we go. And remember, Rick, when the music fades, it goes to you. Fig, I will pick it up from, or you'll pick it up from him and then hand it to me if you would, sir.
You got it.
All right. Perfect.
All right.
I'll do this till the music fades. Here we go. Thank you, sir. See you, Bago.
Yep. See you.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit on the tanker through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. There I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond.
Well, there I was about 4:15 a.m. over Tikrit, Iraq. Happens to be Saddam Hussein's hometown. And it was at the end of March. I don't have the exact date, 2003. We're just invading Iraq. And I've got full throttles in my A-10. I'm indicating 215 knots. At 21,000 feet, I swear to God, because you're wall-to-wall bombs. And then I got lit up by a 6 and then a 2. And I used all my chaff that day, but I'm here to talk about it.
Oh, whoa.
Oh,
okay,
shit.
That is no shit. That's how all aviation's. That's a great way for an aviation tale to begin. Welcome, everyone. This is Fig coming to you from Denver today. Where's my core host? Co-horse.
Yeah,
Co-horse.
It's easy for you to say. I'm in New Hampshire today, and I'm proud and excited to introduce with us today Bacchus, who is also coming to us from New Hampshire. Known him for a few years. Boy, man, you were just lighting it on fire there, 215 knots.
Woo!
Oh, dear God. You look younger already. You were traveling so fast.
Oh, my gosh.
That's how you travel in the A-10. You put the throttles in the northwest corner, and you freaking leave them there until you land.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean,
And a little extra drag from the bombs. That is outstanding. I can't wait to circle back to that one.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Welcome to our listener, Dizzy. I see he's aboard today, too. So very
Welcome
cool.
aboard, Dizzy.
So, hey, let's back up there, Bacchus, and we'll want to get into your call sign here in a little bit. But before you had a call sign, you had a dream about, flying airplanes and stuff. And I understand you might have read a Pat Conroy book or something. Is that how it started for you?
Well, I actually started as a civilian pilot.
Okay.
Embry-Riddle in Daytona Beach, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wanted to be an airline pilot, like a lot of guys do, and the least amount of work for the most amount of money. I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And to me,
Don't tell anyone.
right? And then I got a job as a flight instructor at Bradley International Airport outside of Hartford, where the Connecticut Air National Guard happened to be, and they're flying F-100s with hard light afterburners. I mean, they're just a beautiful, beautiful airplane, which I did end up flying one. I got a ride. But so my military career, and I want to thank the Marine Corps, one of many things to thank them for, because they got me going to go on to be a military pilot. I read the book, The Great Santini.
All right.
Down on July 4th, 1978. The next day was a Tuesday, July 5th, 1978. And I went and I signed up. I had a bachelor's degree and about 1,500 hours of flying time. But after I read that book, doing carrier landings on fucking tables and guys were throwing drinks in your face, rainstorm, ice cubes, ice storm. You got the fan going at the end of the table that you don't want to hit, and you're trying to grab a cable with your feet, rope or sheet tied across
the tablecloth.
And I thought, that is me. There's no freaking doubt about it. When am I a civilian, Pablo? So July 5th, after reading that book, I went and signed up in the Guard. And, sometimes I look back at Air Guard. Maybe I should have been on the duty, but I thought it was a smart thing to do because I still wanted to kind of be an airline pilot. I want to do both. And so I had to enlist. So here I am, 23 years old, degree, 1,500 hours of flying time, and I went to boot camp at Lackland Air Force Base, and I was assigned latrine queen. I was in charge of cleaning all the toilets at boot camp. So that's how I started. Latrine queen.
Very, very luxurious job.
Glamorous.
Very
That's
glamorous.
Right.
Yes. Nothing but the best
man.
part.
So you did that. Did you sign up? You signed up to the Connecticut Air Guard, not to the Air Force.
I did.
Okay.
All training was done by active duty, of course. Pilot training, field school, and the fighter lead-in school, and A-10, and all that.
So I can't tell you how many people ask about, what should I do? Should I go Navy? Should I go Marine Corps? Should I go Air Force? All that kind of stuff. And I tell them over and over again, if I'd known then what I know now, I'd gone Air Guard, hands down. Do you think it's still that way? I know you're out for some time now, but
yeah, I retired in 2012 after 33 years, 7 months, and 27 days. But
not that you were counting.
No, not at all. I loved it. But it is. It's. I got the briefing by a fellow college student in college, and joined the Guard, and you get to fly jets in your hometown, your home state, and then you go get an airline job at Eastern or somewhere, and so after a year out of college, I went and did that because I read The Great Santini. What's that guy's name? Bull Meacham. Colonel Bull Meacham.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, he's my hero still.
Played by Robert Duvall in the movie.
The
book was still better.
Folks,
the
book
if you
was
haven't
so
read
much
the book,
better.
It is so much more better written.
Yeah, sure.
The English in it's more better too.
I laughed so hard I cried reading that book.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah, running turtles over in their station.
Yes, that's the part that got me.
Well, that's how I raised my kid. You will excel in all sports. You will achieve all scholastic awards. Inspection 0800 hours. Yeah. And I raised my kids just like that. No, I didn't.
How'd that work out for you? So okay, so you wind back. You wind up back in Connecticut with the Flying Yankees. You said.
Yeah, the Connecticut Flying Yankees. One of the oldest flying squadrons in the country. We started off in 1923 flying Curtis Jennies, and then up to World War II, we're over with the Chinook and the Flying Tigers in Burma. The 118th was assigned to that unit. And one of our pilots, Major Ed McComas, you can look it up, he got 5 kills on one freaking sortie.
Nice.
Five Japanese kills on one sortie. And I don't know if that's still the record or not, but he was the 118th member. And so we do have some history. him and Jack Swikert, he was in our unit, Apollo 13.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had some pretty good guys. They're not all slugs like me.
What year was that you got in the Guard?
July 5th, 1978.
1978.
Yeah, retired March 1st, 2012. So I was
So
enlisted.
but you said you enlisted, so you didn't go officer right away.
No, you had to get selected. They look at you.
Yeah.
It's like I was working in operations, filing flight plans and all that stuff, and which is somewhat important job, I guess. So I got to meet a lot of pilots and then start drinking beer with them, and
Yeah. You rushed the fraternity basically.
in a 4-year rush. Yeah. But
Yeah.
after less than 2 years, I got selected to go to officer school and Air Force pilot training out of Lubbock and so on and so forth. And from there, I went.
Okay. And were they driving hogs when you got there?
No, they were flying F-100 Super Sabres.
Oh, that's right. You said that. I just I was testing you to see if you remembered telling me that.
They gave me I got a ride in one in the back seat, and
Okay.
four-ship hard light afterburners. I don't know if you ever heard of hard light afterburner, but come bam, and it's 2 flights of 2 taking off, and really cool. So we go off and do a low level. 3 of us. So number 4 splits off, and he's a Baron, and he at some point attacked us on the low level route up in Maine. And we did a whole bunch of high G turns. I was looking through a soda straw, like, what the fuck? And yeah, there it is. F-100, oh, you rock. First jet to break the sound barrier in straight and level flight. First came out in 1953, I should say.
Okay.
So anyway, I got a ride in the F-100. I did not puke. And so I was looking pretty good. And then shortly after that, I got selected to go, like I said, pilot training. And then when I was away in pilot training, we started getting brand new A-10s out of the factory in the end of 79, 1980. And which, the Guard used to be a flying club, but I mean, since Russia went soft on us and the wall came down, it seems like we've been fighting every fucking day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah, worse.
Won the Cold War, and then we got in a real shooting war.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
So you came back from flight school to brand new airplanes.
I did, yeah. I had to, got my wings and then fighter lead in school, and we're learning how to dogfight drop bombs and all that. I don't know what you call it in the Marine Corps, but and then A-10 training. So I was gone for a couple of years almost, and came back to my home state and flying A-10s. And in the meantime, though, and shortly after that, in 1982 is when I got back from pilot training. Actually, in August 3rd, 1981, President Reagan fired all the air traffic controllers because they went on strike, illegal strike, and their aim was to shut down the country unless they got what they wanted. Right. Well, working for the government, you're not allowed to strike. You can do all kinds of things, but that one thing you can't do. So about 80% of the air traffic controllers got fired. And so back at the squadron, about 6 months after I got back, me and a buddy of mine, all the airlines had furloughed, the economy sucked, 1981, 82, and me and my buddy said, let's go take the controller test. Those guys are fired. There's no scab innuendos involved here. They're gone. And that was kind of a stopper for me. And I went, okay. So that's how I got into my next, my sordid past.
How you began your ATC career. And so you ran 2 careers in parallel, basically.
I did. I did. So I got 100 on the entry exam. I'm brand new A-10 pilot, trying to learn this because even though you just got out of 2 years of training almost, you're an idiot. Everyone knows it. You need a few years under your belt.
Now you've got a license to learn.
You're right. So I was there, I think less than a year flying the A-10. I had to leave for about 4 or 5 months to go. I got hired, and I was assigned Boston Center. So I had to go to Oklahoma City for 4 months or so for screening, basically training and screening. And I got through Oklahoma City. It's a 50% washout right there for air traffic controllers.
Yeah, I had a buddy that did that, and he didn't make it. He said it was nuts how difficult it was, and he said that now you will know better than me. I seem to recall him saying something to the effect of, they expect you to do things in a procedural way, even though it's not the way it's done in the real world, and you are just expected to learn the procedures, do the procedures, and follow it. No common sense allowed in training. It's, can you follow procedures?
That's pretty much, that's pretty much.
Okay.
It's not the real world. Yeah, and so, but I understood that, and being an Air Force guy, this is not a real world. You will do as you're told. I think you guys are pretty much the same. But
Aye, sir.
I got by it and went back to, came back, and now Boston Center is actually in Nashua, New Hampshire. The centers aren't located near or on airports for the most part. Memphis is, and there's a few. But it's just a standalone facility, anywhere from 250 to 400 air traffic controllers, nothing but radar scopes. And you control all the airspace except for what the towers owned around the airport. So it's so I was a center guy for 24 years, Boston Center, and 5 days a week, and on at least 1 day off a week, quite often 2 days, my days off a week. I went and flew for the Guard. And so I was in the FAA. I retired as supervisor of GS-15, and
wow, you spent 20-year career,
24 years.
24 years with
The FAA.
With the FAA as an air traffic controller.
Yeah, retired.
And I give you shit about the dark side, Fig. He really hit the dark side.
I know, right? That's impressive. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, but and a lot of people, I know I'm collecting retirements, of course, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I worked pretty much 7 days a week for 24 years. You call sick once in a while, or get your vacation time, and or sign up. I have 4 combat deployments, and it was really hard work, but I love both jobs. They both
I guess as long as you love the job, that's a good thing. But okay, there's the Boston Center.
I worked sectors down around New York City for a while, supervised there, and then sectors in the central part of the center there, high altitude and low altitude. That's an accurate map. Very good.
Yeah. So
go,
I'm glad you brought that up. I actually got to go. I met somebody and went over and sat in Boston Center next to a controller for a little bit. Met the lady. She's retired now after, and you told me her name the other day, and I already forgot it again.
Pat Clark.
Pat Clark. The Boston Center, Fig, it's the Patricia Clark Boston Air Route Traffic Control Center.
Wow.
And I walked in, and there's this woman, she's in her 70s, possibly 80s, and on her desk, her name tag is Patricia Clark. And I'm kind of looking at is that oh yeah, that's her. And she'd been there since the early 50s or late 40s?
No. Boston Center moved that they made 20 centers across the country.
Right. But when did she get there, I guess? She'd been there a long time.
1960.
60, okay.
Yeah, so she's got...
I was off by a decade.
2006. She's got like 80,000 hours of sick leave. She just passed away, unfortunately, a few months ago.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, she was a neat lady to meet. But yeah, she never took any sick time, and she kind of ran the place.
Oh, she did. Everyone was scared. Everyone was afraid of her. I was scared to death. You walk into her office with your head bound.
Yeah. I get that. Well, then, so can you describe? I'm glad you brought up sectors, though. So I was kind of surprised to learn that most of the centers are built in the same architectural layout throughout the country. You walk in and there's aisles, and each aisle of radar screens controls a given sector, and so that's why you always work in the same location. I guess that helps you understand quickly, not having to think about where intersections are and fixes, procedures.
Correct. Most areas have 6 sectors, and it takes from walking in the door until you're checked out as a full performance level controller. It takes at least 3 years, unless it's some easy. Wow. Boston Center is hard. New York Center is very hard. Their washout rate's probably another 50%, and so it takes about 3 years. And so you're in one little section of the center with 6 radar scopes, and that's where you live for the next 24 years. And you think, well, that's just crazy. This little room of 6 scopes, and the whole control room is huge, the whole facility. But once you sit down behind the scope, you're not in this little room. You've like fallen into this radar scope in this vortex, and now you're working airplanes, and you're 3-dimensional, and you're trying to figure out shit. Who's going to go first, and all the air traffic control things. And the job really rocked. It was so much fun.
What was here's a double question. What was the best part and what was the worst part about being a controller?
The worst part is dealing with your fellow controllers in the sectors next door. They'd stick it up your ass with like 3 planes. I worked inbounds to Boston, and you get 3 handoffs, and you click, 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 take 3 handoffs, and it's T-Way United or whatever, or whoever was in business back then, and then you look, and they're all going to Logan Airport, and you're supposed to give me 20 miles in trail or 10 miles in trail. And well, hey, you took the handoff, and we'll see you in the and that kind of stuff. What do you want me to do with these guys? They're your control, and that seriously, that's the hard part.
If I thought I could get away with putting it on Facebook, that'd be a show title right there. They'd stick it up your ass.
3 airplanes abreast and going to the same airport, and I only have like 80 miles to get 10 in trail, so now I'm vectoring all over the place. And but things happen. That's I think working with others, that was probably the hardest part, and the best part is just like flying, the camaraderie. There's only 13,000 air traffic controllers in the whole country. So you're in this brotherhood, very, very small.
Right.
Only these guys. I'm married to a controller, and it's great. I can come home and
he talks you up.
Got a Cat 3. No shit, what was the RVR? It was 700 and decreasing. She would know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so it's a very small, closed community. It's like you only hang out with other controllers. And
like cops, right?
You don't understand.
Did your wife and you work the same sector?
She started off at Hanscom Tower,
Okay.
outside of Boston, Air Force Base, slant civilian. Then she went to Manchester, New Hampshire, control tower there, and with the approach control. And then she ended up at Boston Center for her last 10 or 12 years. And we did work together for a number of years. We were both married to other people, and we ended up getting married not because nothing ever happened. Her career was after I retired and I got divorced, and I heard she was whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
All on the up and up.
Yeah. All right.
Nothing nefarious going on. That's what you're saying.
Nah, sorry. But working at the
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I noticed that you dropped the term, and someone asked about it. You dropped the term called RVR. Can you explain to folks what RVR is?
Runway visual range,
There we
and
go. Yep.
it's the visibility measured in 3 different parts of the runway: the touchdown end, the middle of the runway, and the far end of the runway.
Yeah.
And they use a device called I forget what it's called.
Transmissometer?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 cameras or whatever lights they shine at each other. One shines a light, and then the other one measures, the visibility
light it's
of the
getting,
light that comes through. I think
It's magic. It's just magic.
It's a system of
PFM.
smoking strings and shit.
Yeah.
And so, so RVR. So I mean, most civilian pilots need about 5,000 RVR. Some of us, if you ever flew heavies, you can land down to
0.
300 RVR,
Yeah.
00.
Yeah.
transmissometer. There you go.
Yep.
Who's doing this in the background? Is that
That's Bago, man.
That's
Bago
He's
is.
our producer, man. The guy is magic. He is pure magic. Yeah.
Ah.
He makes it so much easier. It actually helps us flow the show because we can sit and chat instead of having to look stuff up and try and put it up and get that stuff.
Sure.
So it works out great.
That's awesome.
All right.
Well, I would imagine with 25 years, I know not all of that was sitting behind a scope, but with 25 years, you've got to have some pretty awesome stories.
I do. There's a ton. 9/11, that was a big story because a lot of hijackings and all that took place. Initially, 2 flights out of Boston Center.
Right. Were you working that day?
I was on the Iraqi border that day.
Oh, okay.
He
Screwing
was
around
over
with
there.
those
But
guys.
here's this
Okay.
thing. Quick spoiler alert, folks. Bacchus put me in touch with somebody today who was working that day and who kept good notes. And was a former Marine A4 mech.
Yeah.
And he is.
Avionics.
We're going to chat with him about chatting on the show. So
That's
Yeah.
great. I can't wait for that.
me
Yeah.
too.
So I won't get into the 9/11. I will say I had a guy on my crew. I was a supervisor, and I had a guy on my crew whose wife was on American 11, and he luckily he dropped her off at Logan Airport, and by the time he got to Boston Center up in Nashua, New Hampshire, the news was out, call sign, and the union president got a hold of him and took care of him.
Oh boy,
Mm.
that's something.
He walked out that day, never came back.
Oh my gosh.
2 years to go to retirement, but the union nationwide chipped in sick leave. 2 years of sick leave, so he got to retire.
Wow.
Nice. Oh, that is awesome.
But they didn't.
All right.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I
Take
want to
care
hear
of a
about
guy
your.
like
I want to hear about you being on the Iraqi border, but I want to. But let's go back to. I want to hear some of these stories, air traffic control stories.
Oh yeah. Well, there's. I wrote down a couple of things. There's one guy on my crew. His name is Craig Yost, and he's a civilian guy, and he would always be messing with me. Like I'd be walking by his scope, and I got like a supervisor. I got a clipboard or something. But being a supervisor, you tie in all the sectors, make sure everyone's happy, the traffic's moving smooth. If someone has an emergency, I get a headset and I plug in and I'll listen to a pilot, so I can probably help out.
Yeah.
But this guy, Yost, one day I'm walking, he sees me coming. I'm right behind him walking by, and he yells out on the what I thought was a frequency, but he didn't actually push the microphone button. And he yells out, "Air Force One, can you tighten up the turn, sir?" I'm like, shit, I'm like, and he just looked at me and smiled. Those types of stuff. I mean, that's not a big story.
Hey, you just triggered a question. How many percentage? It doesn't have to be precise. How many controllers are also pilots?
A lot of civilian, private men.
Yeah.
I'd say 15% are civilian pilots. I
Okay.
don't of.
Well, that's more than I thought.
I do know of a few that were center controllers and air guard pilots, or in the reserves,
Okay.
Marine reserves or Air Force reserves, and as pilots. But there were not many of us because it's a big commitment. You're just working 7 days a week,
Okay.
and yeah. So, but one day I was working the warning areas off the coast, Whiskey 105 off the southern coast of Long Island.
Okay.
And there was, I think were they Marines out of South Weymouth flying A4s? This is back
Okay.
in
Yeah.
and they're doing air combat maneuvers, whatever they're doing, dogfighting, practicing stuff, and one of them yells, knock it off, I'm all fucked up. I don't care. And so I just
On Victor. Yeah, he thought he was talking on the back radio, probably to his wingman.
Yeah. And so I get on the frequency. I said, the aircraft that just made that last transmission, identify yourself. He comes right back. I'm not that fucked up. Honest to God.
Oh, that's great.
Some of those, they really,
Oh,
They-
man.
they really
Another
stick
show
out.
title. I'm not that fucked up, but you can't do it.
I'm not that fucked up.
Well, one day, I'm flying in my A-10 from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I got a cross-country call sign, and I'm flying to Bradley International, my guard base.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm up at like 27,000 feet, and I'm flying back, and I hit Boston Center's airspace. Beautiful day. And I decide I'm not going to listen to one freaking clearance. I'm going to deny every clearance they give to me, everything. And just to see what they do. So I disguise my voice a little bit, and they didn't know where they knew it was me. And so they descend and maintain, Shark 1, descend and maintain 240. And I said, yeah, you know what? I'm going to stay up here at 27. I got a good ride. No, not right now. And I go a little quiet, silent. Okay, well, your discretion, descend and maintain, follow 240. Thank you. And then it's okay. Shark 1, you got to contact Boston Center on 291.6. And I said, no, I'm gonna stay with you. Shark 1, you have a problem? And you need some assistance? No, I'm gonna stay with you for now. So then he's Shark 1, they need to talk in the next frequency. Yeah, okay. And all right, Shark 1, turn 30 degrees right for traffic. The next sector is request. And I said, nope, I ain't doing it. I'm not turning for anybody.
Oh boy.
And that's when I got, is this Rick? And I'm turning, I'm switching, I'm descending. See ya. Meanwhile, because of all that, he's getting all messed up with all the other traffic that roadblock. So I had to park my
and of
car.
course, you're on UHF, so none of the none of the other air traffic, the civilians can hear you because we're all on Victor. Oh,
and that is something I noted. That is a lesson learned. Airline guys and military guys on this podcast. Don't be afraid of controllers. They're just like you and I and everybody else. I mean, there's one controller, he had hair down to his ass. He wore purple clothes every day. His pickup truck was purple. Just weirdo. But once you got him along, he's a decent guy, but volunteer fireman and all that. But I mean, there's some strange dudes. Nobody takes drugs. Everyone drinks too much. You're not allowed to smoke or whatever. Civilians might be doing. They're just so don't be afraid of controllers because I mean, they're like I was flying. I got an airline job after the FAA, and I'm at 39,000, and they told me to descend, and I'm looking, and there's nothing but thunderstorms below me. And it's like, no. Don't be. Yeah, you gotta just speak up. If they tell you to turn and it doesn't look good, or descend, and you're gonna put you in a thunderstorm. No, and just tell them why. And absolutely, you can. If they say, "Well, you have to declare an emergency," okay,
fine. Here we go. Make it official.
E-word.
Yeah.
I ended up being a captain for a freight airline, and so a new captain with new hires, Marine, Air Force, Navy, whatever, military guys, and they would just talk like. New York Center, this is such and such, 123. We're climbing to 330. Captain requests airline 123, New York Center, Roger. Yeah, New York Center, airline 123. Captain requests we climb to 370. Airline 123, all right, clear to maintain follow 370. Airline 123, on and on. It's just like, he just writes, that drives controllers nuts when you're want something, just put it all.
Put it all in one. Say it and get done with it, right?
Yeah. Controllers are trained to take in a lot of information and then spit it all back and take care of it. But
this is good information to know.
It is good.
In fact, so you don't get a deal. A deal is when two airplanes in the center get within 5 miles and 1,000 feet. I'm just center, not approach control. Yeah. And so if you get within 5 miles and 1,000 feet and you look and you're 300 feet off and you can see your TCAS and you think, if the controller says something to you, airline 123, verify your level at follow 210, affirmative, even though you're correcting.
Right. Level.
Your level. Nobody wants to do all the freaking paperwork. They pull the controllers off.
Deny.
Yeah. Now, these days with ADS, A and B, or in and out, whatever it's called.
It's B,
I don't know if you can get away with it, but it worked for me a couple of times because you find single seat A10s, for example, no autopilot.
Yeah. Are you level 280? Yes.
Yes, I am. I am level 280. Yeah. Okay. And we're gonna, because either the pilot screwed up, the controller screwed up, or it's an equipment issue. And sometimes, quite often, it's equipment issue. So there's another,
I got to go. I got to come back real quick and clean something up before we get too far down the road. I know what you meant, but I need you to define it for us. Cross-country call sign.
Oh, cross-country. Well, local call signs at the base, let's say at my guard unit, they were fish, bass 1, shark 1, cuda 1. I can't think of the other ones right off the top of my head. So a cross-country call sign might be I don't know, something other than fish.
Yeah, you had the liberty of making up your own ATC call sign when you filed your flight plan.
You
That's
can
what
I used to try Marine One. It never worked.
yeah,
They wouldn't let me do it.
yeah. Well, but yeah. Well, we tried to make our call signs Yankee. We're the Flying Yankees, Connecticut.
Sure.
Yankee, King Arthur's
Okay.
Court, whatever. And so the Flying Yankees. So we wanted our call sign to be Yankee 1121314161. We're doing local training, and I'm dealing with the Washington D.C., the FAA headquarters, and this woman's, and she's in charge of call signs. And she denies it. And I'm the one doing the paperwork, and she doesn't know I work for the FAA. And so I call her up and I said, so why can't we have a call sign Yankee 11? It's not, no one uses Yankee. And she said, it's part of the phonetic alphabet. You can't do that. It'll be too confusing. And I said, oh, you mean like Delta?
Delta Airlines.
Yeah,
Right.
Delta,
right.
the phonetic alphabet. She goes, oh. And so we got Yankee.
Nice.
Yeah. There it is, Flying Yankee.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What that
Good
guy has, that's Lieutenant Wadsworth, and the British are coming to steal the charter, the Connecticut charter that says we're an independent state free of British rule. And they were coming to take that. They were in Hartford, and this guy, the British are coming to steal the charter, and they're in what little state house it was, whatever, in Hartford. And he took that and he ran. He's running away from the Brits. I hate to say that, but he is. He's running away from the Brits are coming. And he stashes it in an old charter oak tree, a knot hole, and that's where he put it. It's true, no shit. And
Nice.
yeah, that's Flying Yankees. So that's the story behind it.
Nice. All right. I actually I had another one because I remember this. You and I chatted about 15 years ago about some of this stuff, and was it you or somebody else? It was similar to the joke about Air Force One tightening it up, but it had to do with an emergency aircraft and a joke. Does that ring a bell?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So who was that on?
That was somebody. I forgot how it went, but basically it was.
It wasn't on you, right?
No,
It
the
was
civilian
another supervisor.
airplane. You're right, because controllers can be like ornery, and sometimes controllers think that the pilots are there to serve controllers. I swear to God, they get it backwards. Controllers, they're not pilots. They forget that Orville and Wilbur came first, and not ATC. And so the story goes, there was a civilian private pilot. He calls Boston Center, and he's got an emergency. Well, two controllers sitting behind a scope, and they're talking. And he says, "With the aircraft emergency, stand by." And so he's, going on, and how exactly I'm screwing this up. But basically, they just kept telling jokes as this guy kept declaring emergency. I screwed up the story. Repeat. I'm sorry. I forgot exactly how it went.
No, okay. So my recollection was there wasn't an emergency aircraft.
It was Craig
The
Yost.
supervisor was walking by.
That was me. That's right. That's what it was.
Okay.
Aircraft emergency, stand by. So anyway, I go in the bar. I got a monkey on my shoulder, and he orders a drink. And yeah, it was one of those deals.
What? You can't do that. You got an emergency airplane, you idiot.
Aircraft emergency,
Okay.
stand by.
Yeah. Oh man. No, that sounds like a pretty tight group though. And like a lot of fun.
It really was. It was mostly all guys working. Not too many women back then. My wife was one, so she's tough as nails. They're not throwing shit.
So Fig, I'm taking off out of Manchester one morning. I'm a MD-11 captain, and Bacchus is on my jump seat. It's a Sunday morning, and he goes, "You want direct anywhere, like to destination?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He makes a phone call to Boston Center. Fig, I shit you not. We're climbing through 800 feet. We get handed off to departure, and they cleared us direct to the destination. 1,500 miles downrange.
The first time ever in your life. That's it.
And the last time, too.
That is fantastic.
One night, I was flying for this airline, and there was three of us, same airline, all on the frequency. We're all departing New England airports. I was departing Manchester. No, Portland, Maine. And my wife is the center controller, and I know this because I just got the phone. And so she knows. I say, hey,
She put you in a hole? Did she give you a vector?
Well,
Come on, man.
yeah, call sign that, and she's familiar with call signs. So I get airborne. I say, hey, how about direct so-and-so? And she gives it to me. And I said, take care of so-and-so, something 12 out of Manchester. And she gives them direct somewhere. And then the guy coming up from, who was the third? I forgot, Bradley Airport or somewhere. And she gave them direct.
Bradley, Boston, Manchester, or Portland,
Boston.
right?
It was Boston.
Yeah.
And coming up over Cambridge. And then the guy out of Boston, he gets direct somewhere. And what do you know what he says? Does he thank her? He says, no, thanks, Rick. You knew it. Mind the freaking pulling the string.
Yes. Puppet master. That's
two
awesome.
careers really were a great compliment to each other. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Controllers, when I'm flying, controllers try to bullshit in when you're controlling. The pilot will try to bullshit you, and you're not going to.
Right.
It was fun.
Exactly. So, well, there were a couple of things I know I want to get to. There was, we certainly want to talk about some hog driving stories and talk about the fact that you were the National Airspace Coordinator for all military airspace, to include, I'm going to blame it on you. We used to want to come up and use the Yankee 1 and Yankee 2 MOA, and they said, no, you can't unless you're an A-10. So we started lying to them and saying we're A-10s.
Yankee 2 is 9,000 and below, A-10s only.
Yeah.
Well, what were you flying? The
Harriers.
A4? Oh, Harriers.
Yeah, we were flying Harriers at the time. We're like, yeah, no, we're green airplanes. We're just like an A-10.
Yeah. I mean, some guys might have got away with it, whatever. That's
I never got busted for it, but I was always denied until I finally said, okay, no, I'm an A-10.
Yeah, they can't tell. I mean, I was leading a flight of 6 A-10s for, was I leading or was I already at destination? Going to the desert in early 2003. And the place that still I've never seen published where we were. But anyway, and so on the Israeli controller strips of flight plans, little strips of paper, flight of C-130s. And
how about that?
6 C-130s, and yeah, sure, yeah, that's correct. We're actually, it was A-10s. So,
but you were going as fast as a C-130. That's what threw them off.
Exactly. You're full of shit. C-130s don't go that slow. That fast. Whatever. A-10. Hey,
So did you guys at the Connecticut Guard? Did you have the modification on your A-10 canopies? They were reinforced in the back in case of a bird strike.
I was just going to get into that. What a great way. I was going to diffuse some myths. First of all, our airspeed indicator is not a fucking calendar.
Okay.
Regular indicator. And,
now, there's a title. I'll drop the F-bomb and say our airspeed indicator is not a calendar.
You're right. We don't have screens in the tailpipe to prevent engine damage from bird strikes from the rear. I mean, at least the airplane's pretty. The hell,
well, there's that.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, he's got a zero cooling door open. That is. Oh,
man.
We carry a lot of stuff. Here's a bullet.
I am still shocked that the Marines didn't buy that airplane.
You couldn't land it on an aircraft carrier. That was the rub.
Well,
I mean, you could land it on it, but it would take up too much room. The wings didn't fold.
Right, yeah.
Well, you wouldn't get off. It was underpowered. It always has been. I think there's only like 9,500 pounds of thrust per engine.
The question is, could it catch the carrier? I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, if the carrier was going full steam and it had a bunch of headwind anyway, it might not make it. Right?
Good point.
You'd be smashing them behind the carrier.
I just come right down like a Harrier.
Yeah, right. Hover. Hover right in.
Yeah.
Love that airplane, though.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Marine Corps should have had that airplane.
I think so. You would have loved it because there's nothing like this. The gun is just so fantastic.
You were just holding up that depleted uranium shell. So, folks, go look at this on YouTube.
There's a gun. The pilot straddles the like where all those rounds are. Well, probably halfway down the barrel. That barrel's 20 feet long. So
Yeah, we're at 44 minutes and 37 seconds since going live, and that's where that picture is coming up. It's next to a Volkswagen. The damn gun's bigger than a VW. Bug.
oh yeah, and you wrap your legs around those barrels, and it's and here's the other thing. Despite
I bet that was a thrill.
there's vibration, and you can smell the smoke a little bit, but Newton's third law of motion: for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you puke off 100 rounds of 30 Mike, that's a lot of. I mean, the round weighs 1.5 pounds. The projectile itself are heavy, and it shoots 70 rounds a second of these 70 rounds a second, or maybe a little less. And so no, the A10 does not slow down when you pull the trigger. It's like and there's 100 rounds. I just wanted to dispel another myth.
Because I thought for sure you'd be 40 knots slower at the end of the burst.
Yeah, no.
Stop.
At the end of the
too
brap.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I should get my. Anyway, do you need a commercial?
Yeah, so I was going to run in here, and we were going to chat about FTIratings.com. They're the wonderful folks that are bringing this show to you folks possible. So we're going to chat with them. We're going to be back in about 3 minutes. So if you need to make a head call or anything like that, go ahead and so do at this time.
Hey everyone, today we're diving into something that all you aspiring airline pilots and those needing an ATP or a type certificate will want to tune into. Flight Training International, or FTIratings.com. Since its inception in 1993, FTI has been dedicated to elevating the standards of pilot training.
That's right, Fig, but FTI isn't your ordinary flight school. It's a veteran-founded institution that's all about delivering high-quality and cost-effective training across a wide spectrum of airliners. From the Airbus to Boeing simulators, their training covers it all, and these simulators mimic the exact conditions you'll face in the real world.
Yeah, these simulators are no joke. They're the same full-motion, FAA-certified beasts used by all the major airlines all over the world. This means every training session isn't just a lesson, it's a real-world experience. Plus, the instructors have been where you are. Transitioning from military jets to commercial airliners is smoother than ever.
And the credentials these instructors bring to the table are impeccable. We're talking about professional pilots with previous military experience and decades of flying commercial airliners around the globe. They're here to guide you, to teach you, and to ensure that you're ready to handle everything from transatlantic crossings to tight landings at bustling international airports.
FTI also offers special programs like ATP CTP, which stands for Airline Transport Pilot Certification Training Program. That's been mandated by Congress to ensure pilots are thoroughly prepared for the demands of modern aviation. And the best part, all this can be accessed from wherever you are, thanks to their innovative training materials available on your iPad.
Nice. And because we love giving our listeners the best deals, here's one just for you. Mention So There I Was when you sign up for your first course at FTI and get a sweet $100 off. Whether you're a seasoned pilot looking to up your skills or a military aviator aiming for the commercial skies, FTI is your launching pad.
So what are you waiting for? Check out FTIratings.com. That's FTIratings.com. Join the ranks of their esteemed alumni, including pilots from the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Navy, and even the FAA. If they trust FTI, you can too.
Absolutely, Fig. And don't forget that you can use your veterans benefits to pay for the cost of FTI.
Boom.
So gear up, check your avionics, and prepare for takeoff. Go to FTIratings.com and get started today. Your future as a top-tier airline pilot starts at Flight Training International. That's why FTIratings.com is the best option for you. Don't just fly, soar with FTI. Hey, I can only say don't get caught trying to get on with the airlines unless you're using FTI. Thank you guys for sponsoring us. So let's talk some hog driving and some,
Sure.
yeah. Yeah. What'd you
4
think of that?
combat tours, is that right? 4 combat tours?
Yeah, but a few of them a couple of them were short tours.
Here comes
Yeah.
Mr. Humble.
Well, no, they were. I mean, the active duty guys are going a year here, 9 months there, a year. We're just, gone for a month or two. Or got activated for a year in 2003. I'm having dinner.
There you go. Breakfast of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
A Kit
Yeah.
Kat bar.
So, but
okay.
tour over Aviano or to Aviano, Italy during the Bosnian conflict. We're out there, shooing away the Christian Serbs to protect the Bosnian Muslims.
Okay.
Crazy.
Religion. I know. It's killing Christians, protecting Muslims. A lot of people didn't know that. You look at it, funny. I mean, it's just my job. But whatever. I don't know where I was going with all that. But and then a couple of tours, Operation Southern Watch flying out of Kuwait, and then Operation Iraqi Freedom in early 2003. We got activated for a year. But we only had to, it went so quick, the invasion. We only ended up staying 4 or 5 months. But busy. And it's not many. I got 36 combat missions, which is very minute compared to some of my comrades. I got, 250.
Yeah, but it only takes one to go bad.
Well, speaking of bad, I kind of want to hear how this came out when you were being all you could be at 230 knots and got lit up by SA-6s and SA-2s.
Yeah, 200. I think it's probably closer to 215 knots because we're so heavy. What happened was it was early. We got called out on alert. Two ships of A-10s for CSAR, Combat Search and Rescue. An F-15E Strike Eagle went down in the vicinity of Tikrit, Iraq. And this is only like day 5 of the invasion. So they launched a couple A-10s, and I was up in ops, 3:30 in the morning. And they launched me and 2 of us, 2 more A-10s. Okay. And we went out in the Tikrit area looking for maybe a survivor, shoot the bad guys, if they're running, whatever, and we can try to protect them until the helos get their CSAR stuff, Combat Search and Rescue stuff. And so I was part of the 2 ship. We were high cover up in the low 20s. Okay. And we got out there probably around 4:35 in the morning. It was kind of dark. And but anyway, Saddam's hometown and 4 A-10s. 2 of them were down low. One of them flew right down Main Street to Crete. I swear to God, probably at 1,000 feet, which is definitely breaking ROE.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't even be saying that, but I thought, oh man, he's stupid or a hero, brave or something. But so we found the smudge mark, and as it turns out, what happened, there was a shitty night, sandstorms and weather, and the disorientation. And he went inverted and pulled, I guess, right into the ground. This is what is what the thing.
He was a mort.
So there wasn't anybody to rescue, really.
Yeah, 2 morts. But in the meantime, as we were finding this out, we're up covering. And I just, it wasn't target track though, TTR. Okay. I mean, so the guys
search radar.
Yeah, search and I think. I mean, I was just doing what you're supposed to do with chaff and turning and all that kind of stuff. And the ALQ 113 pod is going off. I think ALQ 131 pod is, doing all
that's
this.
your radar warning receiver, right? Telling you.
No, that's a jammer. We had a big jammer.
Jammer. Okay.
Yeah. So that thing, and then, the chaffing. But I tell you where those were coming from, and I announced it as best I could to my buds and threat frequency, Victor. And nothing ever came up. But my plan was to hit the eject button for all my weapons, just clean the wings, dive, get some smash, and then obviously pull a lot. I forget the term, but pull into the threat.
You needed a orthogonal maneuver.
Yes, that's it. Orthogonal.
I pulled that right out of my bald head, right?
Hey.
Oh, damn. I was just thinking that the missile couldn't hack the turn back to come back at you after it went, oh, crap, it's an A-10. I was going way too fast.
He's got 3 miles of lead. I'm still way back there going 215 knots.
Yeah, it would have to
Oh,
turn on
man.
itself. It was slowing
Yeah.
so much.
It never gets old giving hog drivers shit about how slow that airplane is.
No. You know what? We get to see shit blow up in front of your very eyes.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was going to talk about it. The A-10.
Yeah.
I went A-10 training in 1981, and it had only been out for 3 years or so. And so the old iron bomb sights, and the same with the gun. Just a cross, and you figure out the crosswind and offset and all that. And you can probably strafe out maybe 8,000 feet. Have some accuracy. And when I retired, still flying the A-10 at age 52, with the GPS and all this, you can strafe at 15,000 feet.
Isn't that crazy?
And hit, you wouldn't penetrate a tank or any armor or anything, but, you'd sure as hell hit buildings.
Dropping lead pellets on them at that point, I guess.
Well, yeah, it'd probably have a lot of tumble, so it was very, very accurate. I mean, you can have rudder in there, crosswinds, whatever, and just figures you just put the thing on the thing, the dot on the head, thing on the thing, you're going to hit it.
Phenomenal.
The thing on the thing.
Put
There
the thing
you
on
go.
the thing. Yep.
Yeah, the
That's
dot
another show title, right?
I'm writing that down right now.
Yeah. Put the pipper on the tank, the thing on the thing, and you're good.
Right? Well, that's how you do it. It's how it's done. Highly technical here, folks. Hope you can grasp this very technical explanation of how strafing is.
Very technical.
Simple.
Roll in, put the thing on the thing, and you're good.
Even bombing.
Yeah.
I got hired by an airline, and I had to go away. I'm still flying the A-10. I'm a bird colonel still, and so I'm just flying like a stat guy.
Colonel, good Lord.
Yeah, and so I go away.
Hold on. Hey, Fig, have you not been sitting at attention this entire time?
So
Bacchus is a retired brigadier.
Well,
He
that's
is
what
a
I thought.
Flag officer.
That's
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It is awesome.
I'm sorry, General. I was sitting in a slouch position, but now I'm going to be sitting rocket straight up.
Yeah, right. I started at this new airline as a flight engineer, and I did get promoted to general when I was still a flight engineer. I remember making the captain wanting a coffee, and I'm just stirring this coffee, and they're like, God damn it, hey, Captain, I'm a general, right? He goes, hey, Rick, you know what? Make that 2 sugars, not 1.
Yeah, that's about how it goes, isn't it?
I knew my place at that new airline. You just keep that. Rank has nothing to do with nothing.
Do you know how important I think I am?
No. Well, that's why I was glad I was enlisted for a while. I don't think I.
Well, there you go. And let me tell you something, folks. I have never met. You would never know that Bacchus is a flag officer when you meet him. I've never met a more humble flag officer in my life. He is.
Well, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Oh, it's
It's
good.
an amazing thing.
Yeah,
it
I think
is amazing. Now, we've had a couple flag officers on here that are right up there with you. I'll give you that, Bacchus. That, we've had some amazing guests on here with us. You're right up there with that. But, it's some guys get that, and they're so impressed with themselves. You're like, wow, you're making everybody around you miserable.
Yeah,
And true leaders don't do that.
No, that's right.
So, yeah.
Douglas McGregor, Theory X and Theory Y. I'm sorry. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Well, I kind of want to know how.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, look at that.
Put the thing on the thing.
That's
what we were talking about.
That thing got danged right there.
Yeah. Looks like 30 mic holes.
So, yeah, that was 58 minutes and 40 seconds into the show. If you're looking on YouTube, a couple holes got put in the vehicular.
Sure.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
When you're dropping unguided air-to-ground ordnance, was your go-to dive angle 30, 45, 60? What was it?
Yeah, we depending on the threat. So back in my early days in the 80s, folded gap. The Russians are going to come through the folded gap into Germany. My life expectancy is less than 90 seconds as an A-10 pilot. But yeah, you'd go in real low, pop up 10-degree dive, and chaff flare and go the other way. 4 Gs in 2 seconds. But now, of course, the threats have changed in our, what do the Marines fly? The EA-6?
Yep.
The
Yes.
harm shooters.
Yep.
And take out, the EA-6 in our Air Force. I mean, all that stuff. The threats are such that we like to stay above right around 20,000 feet as low as you want to go. And that keeps you out of a lot of threats. The only ones left are a couple that we mentioned earlier. Well, there's some more now. So that ended up being a 45-degree dive. And 60-degree dives, a little uncomfortable. You got to pop little speed brakes because we'll get Mach tuck in the A-10. It can't go supersonic. So you don't want to exceed 475 knots indicated in that thing.
Okay.
And from what I hear, it'll start to tuck under, and so that's not good. So 45-degree rolling from 21,000 feet. We're strafing from 21,000 feet too.
Unbelievable.
Sea level. They're just rolling 45 degrees, maybe crack a little bit of speed brakes, steepen it up. And then what do? Put the thing on the thing.
Put the thing on the thing, pull the trigger, and go brap.
Am I wasting my time talking to you guys?
We're trainable.
Put the thing on the thing.
Weapon.
Yeah. There's a loadout right there. Holy shit. Look at all that.
Yeah, we can carry 18,000 pounds of bombs, rockets. We carried, our standard load was 2 GBU-12s, the laser, because we had a Lightning II pod, my last combat deployment. So you can self-laze or buddy laze, IR marker, high, CCD camera. You can see my house 30 miles away with it. That thing.
That's awesome.
Good stuff. And then 2 Mark 82.
Check up on the wife. We were out on a training mission.
You know how many Harleys are parked in the driveway?
Right.
Carried 2 Mark 82 dumb bombs, but we know the GPS and all that. You get pretty accurate with it.
Right.
With 25-foot radar fuse, M113 radar fuse, and then a couple of Maverick air-to-ground missiles. There's a Lightning pod. Beautiful piece of equipment. Oh my God. They give you a drool cup to keep on your chin. It's just so good. Everything, everything. And it's really cool. And then 1,150 rounds of 30 millimeter, a couple of Sidewinder mic models until there's no air threat. And then a tube of 4.75-inch rockets.
Zuni rockets, baby.
You have the jamming pod. And then the Lightning pod, your wall-to-wall stuff. That's why you can only go 215 knots up there.
Right. Yeah. Lots of drag.
Q131, that's it. And awesome.
So did ever get any bullets dent your airplane at all, or
no? I didn't
the whole time. Nice.
Yeah, one time we Haditha Dam. It's a big dam in Iraq.
Yeah.
I think about day 7, and it's on the Euphrates River. And we had the base where I was. We had all the Delta Force guys were there, if there is even such a thing. And and so they went off and did their own thing, days ahead of time. And it was special forces, whoever these guys are, and they went to high value areas like the Haditha Dam and protect it because Saddam Hussein, like he did in Kuwait, ignite all the oil fields and blame America. And so he might start blowing dams, or who knows what he's going to do, and then blame us, sway world opinion. And and so anyway.
Bombing the baby milk plant. I know about you.
Yeah. And so I got to we all had some sorties there. It was 24 hours a day, protecting the guys on our guys on the dam. And there was a battalion of Iraqi forces. I'm not sure if they were Republican Guard or who they were, but they thought that we were going to blow the dam. This is no shit. And when the thing was over and we exchanged, POWs and what have you, that was they swore that they thought we were going to blow the dam. So they tried so hard to get our guys off the dam, and we're killing them, including me and my buddies, because we think they want to go up and blow the dam.
Everybody was killing each other trying to protect the dam.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? But
yeah.
It's true. That's a true story. But
wow.
Well, oh, I'm sorry. You were on a roll. Keep going.
Well, yeah, I'm flying over there, and Pete asked me if I ever got shot. I never did, but there were some funny looking clouds on occasion. Like a cloud would go like this and then go like that, like 90-degree angle clouds. Or those puffy clouds, or well, a little puffy, And then is anyone shooting at us down there? We talked to the ground fac forward air controller,
Right.
or ground fac, I should say. One time he said, "Yeah, the whole world's shooting at you, sir." All right, thank you. Push it up. Oh, we are up. You want 15 knots? But
I think it was the Dos Gringos were the first ones to tell us it was surreal because, unlike a war movie, it's just silent out there. You're seeing them all puff. But they're not making any noise like they do in the war movie. It's like, shit, that's real. That's real world. They're shooting at us.
Yeah, and just let it. Just keep doing your own. Do your thing. So my first strafe pass, is that the Haditha Dam?
That's a Haditha Dam.
Up if that's what. Yep, Bago says that's the Haditha Dam that you were trying to save. So that's at 105.5 in the YouTube streaming video.
Very cool. Behind it, not on the water side, but the other side is where there's various towns. And yeah, we really thought he was going to try to flood the Euphrates River Valley and then blame us as a nation or a coalition.
Yeah.
So my first combat strafe pass, you get all you aviation or fighter guys, they go out and practice strafing, and you usually get like 100 rounds of 20 mic. For us, it's 30 millimeter. And you get 100 rounds, you make 3 passes, 30, 35 rounds each pass, and you go home and have a beer and go back, whatever.
Call it a day.
Now it's combat time, and you want to shoot. A combat burst is about 150 rounds, and in the A-10. And so that's like maybe a 1.5, 2-second burst.
Yeah.
My very first combat burst, I'm zeroed in on a tank or in Iraq somewhere, and I'm getting closer and closer, and I'm starting to get scared because now I'm like around 15,000 feet. I'm getting within threat range, and I see guys around it and everything, and like that. I pulled the trigger. I thought for like a day, and it's only, but we're bingo fuel. We're below bingo, so we had to go back. And one straight pass and took off. And I got back, and then I'm in the de-arming at the end of the runway, and the guy spins the gun, and he says, "Okay, sir, he shot 43 rounds." It's like,
and then he had the trigger down for about a year.
The training, that's that negative training thing that you hear about.
Right? Yeah. Train like you fight like you train.
Yeah, and then the final review of my camera film by the British Intel guys. I saw the film, and there was like little things going off all around the tank, but never hit the tank. So,
well, you scared the hell out of them.
You scared them to death. That's a kill. You scared them to death. Oh, that's awesome.
All right,
Holy smokes!
I have to know how the call sign Bacchus came about.
Oh yeah, Bacchus is the Greek god of wine and revelry.
Right. It's a terrible call sign for someone to have.
Well, I don't think you can see it, but I have like a crease on my forehead from childbirth. See, it's kind of
okay.
My runner-up call sign was ass face. Well, I was so freaking happy. Because that was the runner-up. They were all, you don't pick your own call sign.
Oh,
right?
Man. It's good thing I don't swear in titles. My runner-up call sign was ass face. Another beautiful title. We won't go there.
Right. And but I was in Aviano, actually, and we're in this Italian restaurant. We're flying sorties over Bosnia in the mid-'90s. And we're looking up, and the ceiling was painted, and it's a big fat guy. I used to weigh like 250 pounds. And there's a big fat guy up in a tree, half naked, holding some grapes and a glass of wine or whatever. And one of the other pilots said, "Hey, that's freaking Bacchus, the Greek god of wine." Like, "Oh, yeah, it is." And they're looking at the picture. They're looking at me. And they're like, "Yeah, it looks like Rick." So we had a new naming ceremony, and that's how I got Bacchus.
All right. That is awesome. That
the
is
manly call sign.
That is rich.
Yeah. So, no big deal. But apparently that just goes to show you, though, I hit it pretty freaking hard back in my young days.
Yeah. Well,
You know, and,
Once or twice, I hear.
at that same Aviano trip, can I tell you the drunken Marine story now?
absolutely.
Got to
Oh,
do
there's
it. Oh, there's Bacchus up on the
Hey,
screen.
that does
at
look like
109.37.
Doesn't it?
Holy shit, that is Rick.
Yeah. Hey, you see that girl's boobs? I mean, good.
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh.
You got time for a Marine story?
Oh, hell yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Good. So we're in Aviano, and they put us Air Force Air Guard guys up at Mr. C's. It's a 4-star ski resort in the Italian Alps. And if you've ever been to Aviano, those mountains that are just north.
Yep.
And beautiful. And so this man that owns it, the Italian older man in World War II, when he was 10 years old, the Nazis came and took his father out of the fields, and he never saw his father again.
Okay.
And so, a couple of years later, the Americans come and good news. And he's never forgotten that. So when the Bosnian thing was going on, he would take, for whatever reason, he took the Air Force guys. And probably because the Marine guys refused it, or whatever, Navy were on ships. But I don't know. But anyway, he took care of us. It was such a, it was a top-notch place. No other, just pilots. No one else is allowed. No customers, nobody. He shut it down just for us. He was rich. So one time, the F-18, the Hornet Marine guys were living in freaking tents on the base at Aviano. And, we're all brothers, right? And so we invite them up.
Yeah, some brothers live in tents. Some brothers live in the queue.
Yeah. No.
And some are living in a resort, for crying out loud.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll give you
Guard
three
guys got
guesses
it.
who
Guard
lives
guys
where.
got it made, man. I mean, really.
half the Hornet squadron comes up, and Mr. C, there's like 60 of us, and he's got help, and they're bringing out wine and all this Italian food. Worry about the bill later. No, forget it. I don't want any money. We'll talk later. And it starts off. So the squadron commander, or what do you call it in the Marines? It's skipper.
Yeah.
CO skipper.
Skipper. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a little gift to give to us Air Guard guys, and it was a half a gallon of milk that we could share that evening, which it's completely repugnant and repulsive, and pissed us off. Luckily, our squadron commander apparently knew something like this would happen, and he went out and bought a makeup kit, for teenage girls, mascara and blush and all this stuff, and he presented their skipper with it. And then we got shipping.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. All the good stories, great camaraderie. I go to bed about 2 a.m. I wake up about 6. It's just a little bit of light. We had the next day off. And I look out my window on the front lawn of this 4-star resort. There's a Marine down there lying in a thing of puke about 3 feet wide with his pants down around his ankles. And I'm thinking, I don't know what he was trying to do, but it didn't look good.
They were not around my ankles.
They poor guys. And you know what? And if someone's listening to this, it was all good. It was all good fun. We laughed, but we all got, what do you call it? KP duty for like a week. They got restricted.
Yeah.
It was, but from what I hear, they said it was worth it.
Yeah. Well, they call it. They put us. You get put in hack, which means you're grounded to your quarters or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. They didn't make it home that night, and rightfully so. You can't be like that much.
Something probably. Yeah, somebody. He just probably ate something, didn't agree with him.
That's all.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was it.
A little bad pizza, If the pizza's so bad, why you keep eating?
So just let me get this straight. You 33 years in the military.
Yeah.
25 years with the FAA.
24. Yeah.
24 years with the FAA. So that's concurrently, and then you had an airline
15
career
in an airline.
after that.
In the FAA, as a controller, it's like Secret Service. You get to retire age 50, which I did. Actually, I just turned 51, and I got hired by this company, airline.
And did you stay until you hit mandatory retirement age?
retired from the FAA and went right flying for this airline.
Yes.
Well, I'm still in the Guard for another 6 years.
That's great.
And yeah, so I got more pensions than steak knives.
Yeah.
Right.
I
begged
got-
him to come do union work in the safety department with us because here's a guy who knows air traffic control, airline operations, safety, national airspace, all that kind of stuff. And we were trying to put ASAP in place, but he just had a plate that was still too full. At that
I
point in time.
did,
Stuff
and
was
then
too
I
bad.
got burned out. But
I
was-
don't blame you. Look,
Yeah.
I had to ask you.
I got all those pensions, and it's great until I remember I got an ex-wife. Son of a. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, but still, it's all good. I'll take whatever I can get.
So is there anything to this? There's a note on our notes that says airline interview with union management. What is that about?
Well, that was I was gonna save that for my
The extra?
Is that our
Yeah.
extra?
Okay.
It's
All
just
right.
for members, right?
Yeah.
Yep. For
Yeah,
members
we'll- so
only.
we'll-
our
we'll save it.
Patreon supporters.
We'll save that because that must be a good story.
It's nothing. I mean, it's kind of a good story.
No, it's not nothing. It's fantastic, folks. You don't want to miss it. You want to join Patreon,
Yes.
throw money at us so you can hear this story too.
Oh my
Well,
god.
it is. I mean, it was pretty. Sometimes I don't know how I
It's the
survived.
funniest story ever. No. All right. No, that's right. Holy shit. So, well, can you describe a little bit before we start looking at landing the airplane, what the National Military Airspace Coordinator
Oh
does
yeah.
and how that works? Because I know that was a big ass job, and you did that in addition to being a guard guy and an airline pilot.
Well, it was a guard.
Because you had 4 hours a day that you weren't doing anything except sleeping, so you may as well do something, right?
No, I never did like double duty like that. If that's where you're going.
No, I just think you're a classic underachiever there, Bacchus, and so you were doing that too. I mean, you're doing the airline thing, you're doing the guard thing, and part of your guard duty was this National Military Airspace Command.
Yeah, it's called the hold on, the Airspace and Range Council. And 40, 50 years ago, the FAA owns all the airspace. In fact, the centers actually own all the airspace. The military borrows MOA airspace. Boston Tracon borrows. We let them use some of our airspace to run your Boston local, 30-mile radius traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So the center kind of runs the world, and airspace world. So as I started moving up, and I was moving up in the FAA a little bit because of my knowledge of aviation overall. I got called by a two-star, and hey, you want to start working for the Airspace and Range Council, which I jumped on, and it's basically worked. It's headquarters. Langley is the active duty.
Okay.
They got a 1-star there, and then the Guard Bureau as a 1-star that ended up being me. That's why I made general. And then I had a staff. For me, I had a staff of 1 or 2 07s, 3 or 4 06s, contract guys from out in Arizona, and they'd come. And, a battery of friggin' people. And so we would have the FAA is broken down into, now it's 3 regions. It used to be 9 regions, but the F-35 comes out, for example. You need, they're talking about tossing bombs X number of miles. That's phenomenal. Small diameter. And so,
you can't do that over my house. I object.
It takes 10 years to get airspace. So you have conferences, and you have to invite all the stakeholders. Well, the stakeholders aren't just the airlines, NBAA, the corporate jet and flight schools, or it's the Indian rule on the ground. AOPA is a big one. You got 420,000 members, and most of them are rich. They own airplanes and have pull. AOPA, people on the ground, the National Park Service, all those. The fire, I forget the name of different government agencies that that don't want low level routes or restricted areas or warning areas or MOAs, over there. So you got to convince all these people that why we need it and why it's good for the nation, and all that, and then you got to sell it to all those guys, but then you got to sell it to the FAA. And who controls all the airspace? Well, it's the centers. So we're out in Seattle or Salt Lake City Center, and we're trying to get big hunks of airspace for the F-35 so they can do some of the new as they're coming offline. And so we were talking to the centers. Well, because I'm a center guy and not too far since retired, I probably know those guys, and they've heard of me, and it's like the old adage about all the real work is done in the bar afterwards. It's absolutely true. I mean, so and then it's you sit down and so all right, Rick, what do you guys really need? Well, if you can give us this, we can probably do that, but let me talk to them, and you barter, and next thing you know, you're getting a letter of agreement signed. If it has to go through the Federal Register and all that and public comment. And still, you have to answer all those hard questions about Indian burial grounds and red circles to avoid and figure all that out. But so that's what I did, and it's for the whole nation. I was a co-chair, and there's the three regions.
3 regions now. Okay, East, West, and Central,
including Alaska. Yeah, but now it's those 3, and but that's very good. Bago. Yeah,
Bago is on it, man.
Right?
Bago's on top of it. He's putting these graphics up on YouTube.
How long did you do that job, Bacchus?
Oh man, I don't know, 6-7 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's when I finally retired, and Repeat's asking me to get involved in union, the safety stuff, and all that. It's like, man, I'm freaking tired. I mean, I know I
think so.
I mean, just go ahead and call me.
I think he said, Fig. I think he actually said the quote is,
"He's a quitter." I mean, he's a 3-time quitter. I know, right? That's exactly what's going on.
You're smoking some heavy shit. If you think
that's
I'm
okay.
gonna do that.
I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that.
Yeah, right.
Funny, yeah.
So, what?
So that's.
Did you ever early on before? Did anybody not know who you were and trying to bullshit you about how center works or how airspace works or any of that?
Oh,
well, we can't do that.
Well, here's a good example. We're trying to get airspace out of New York Center. Or rather, dealing with
no. Go fuck yourself. No.
And he didn't know how much I really knew, and so we were at the big meeting, and it's the Warren Grove bombing range, and we just want a little slice of airspace, like 19 to 23,000 for orbits, and then kind of release bombs down into the restricted area, and BDU 33, the blue bombs, and to the bombing range there. And he showed up with all this. Here's a Kennedy, Newark, and LaGuardia. Granted, a lot of airports, a lot of airplanes, and all these lines going right through this little ATCA airspace like that we wanted to get. And it's like right through it. And like, oh my God, that's like 300 flights a day in this block of airspace, 19 to 23,000. He goes, yeah, there's no way. Meeting's over. We can't do it. And I said, wait a minute. Can you get me the side view of this? Because I think all those airplanes are well over the top of that airspace, taking off out of Kennedy, LaGuardia, or Newark. And he left. And he came back and he just said, God damn it. All right, you got me. and that's I love that part.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is fantastic. Don't try to bullshit someone who knows what they're talking about. So
right.
And I'm going to throw a quick story in too about the time I told you earlier that I went to the Boston Center and I sat next to this guy one day. And there was a MOA, and it's supposed to be hot on schedule. And he goes, I'm gonna make it cold now. And he threw a couple Vipers out. He's like, you guys got to go home now. And they said, okay, yes, sir. We're out of here. And he goes, yeah. He goes right up there, and he points to the top of the screen. Sure enough, is an Air China 747. He goes, it's just easier to make the MOA cold and let them go through. Because if I try to get them to go around, they go through anyway.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, you did tell me that. Yeah, they worked with the foreign pilots and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hate to say it, but I think our time together for now is coming to an end, and we need to land this airplane.
We've been at this for an hour, almost an hour, 25 minutes for crying out
Well,
loud. It
you
seems
know,
like
but-
15 minutes.
I know. Bacchus said he wouldn't have enough to talk over about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and I
right.
told him, nah, I think
Yeah.
you do.
That's what they all say, man.
Right?
Right.
Exactly.
I'm looking at all my notes, and
We
pretty
haven't even
much.
got to the first page yet. So anyway, we do need to land the airplane, but first and foremost, General Mitchell, thank you for your service to our nation in more ways than one. To the Guard, to the FAA, you are a great American, and people
Thank
are in better shape today for the efforts that you've made to make this country a better place than you found it. So
No, I don't know about that, but thank you, Pete.
I
It's
do.
real,
Nope, I couldn't say it any better.
no.
real pleasure to be on this podcast. I really had a good time. I hope I wasn't bragging.
It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, you're
I'm
awesome.
I've done a core workout. I don't know about you.
I have.
Had a
I
ball.
know.
Yeah.
I did a core workout earlier today, but I just did another one.
Did another.
Listening to Bacchus.
It's time for 2 days.
Right.
And Badass is on here, and Dizzy's. Thank you for your service. So indeed, thank you very much. Got a couple other thank yous we need to throw out there, Fig. What do you think?
Bago?
Well, we need to, absolutely thank Bago, who's back in the
Bago.
background there, making all the magic happen.
Before we think about it.
Yeah. Thank you, Bago. And Sticks is usually back there. He's in the pit. What do you call it? The mosh pit today.
The mosh pit of humanity.
Couldn't be with
That's
us.
the emergency room.
Got to thank Dave Hamilton for giving us the expertise and the bandwidth to make it all happen.
Absolutely. He's over there at backbeatmedia.com that helps out with our advertising, and we're deeply grateful to him. Dave's got a couple other shows, the Mac Geek Gab for tech lovers, the Gig Gab for musicians, and the Business Brain for entrepreneurs. So check out Dave's other shows. And Fig, if you wanted some great merch, like, say, the shirt that I'm wearing.
Oh, yeah. So there
or a
I
coffee
was.
mug.
So there I was.us/merch.
What is merch? I'm sorry.
Merchandise.
Merchandise. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We,
Get the,
you know,
get-
it's shirts, it's shot glasses, it's cocktail glasses, it's coffee mugs, it's bikinis. There it is. There's a
bikinis.
Fucking sure.
Right.
A bikini that says, "So there I was." Get one for your wife, get one for your girlfriend. Don't tell either one of them about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Non-record.
No.
Yeah.
So, and then give us some ratings. We got some great ratings in the last few weeks. We're deeply grateful for those.
Yeah. Hey,
So there
listen,
it was.us/rate.
5 stars. Give us 5-star rating. If you can't give us 5 stars, then tell us what we can do to make it 5
Look,
stars.
if you don't
Because
give us 5 stars, we're going to get Bacchus to come out of retirement, put his thing on your thing, and fix
he's going to
your
put the
ass.
thing on the thing and go brap.
That's right. So 5 stars, or keep your fingers to yourself. It's that simple. So, yeah. Hey, we're going to get off of here. We're going to do a quick extra for the folks on Patreon. So there it was.us/Patreon. Thank you to all the folks who open their wallets and part with their hard-earned money to help to keep this show coming to you. We are
for real.
humbled.
That is very humbling. Thank you.
It is. So, I don't know, Fig. I'm starting to wonder if there's anything else I've forgotten.
Well, you know, that music in the background is a trigger. That's it. That's what it is. It's that's the music of the 2 Air Force F-16 pilots that make the Air Force sound good. That's the Dos Gringos.
Dos.
They were great guests on our show, and they let us use their music. And 4 albums, not a bad song on any of them. You can get it anywhere you stream your music too, man. It's if you want to laugh, listen to some of their songs.
Right? And listen to good music all at the same time. I don't know. I think until next week, I want to tell everybody. Oh, damn. Thank you very much, Bagel. We almost forgot.
Brad Badass Silcott, BDS Aviation Photography. He supplies all of our beautiful aviation pictures that you get flung up there by Bago from time to time. Thank you, badass.
Indeed. Well played. Man, good stuff. I'm so glad to have help in that area. That makes my life so much easier. Thank you. So until next week, though, I think everybody should, stay safe and check 4, check 5.
Check Sace.
There you go. That's where Paco found his private parking space on Chemo's 6.
Hey, as a side note, I had a conversation with Chemo last night in person, and I told him that he had not listened to that. Oh, it's fight on now. He's ready to have a
Fights
show
on,
with
bitches.
Paco. Yeah.
All right. There we go. All right. Till next week, everybody stay safe and check 6.
See ya.
Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
It's what?
He said it's over.
It's over.
Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Weird.
Ow!
All right. Outstanding show. All right. We need to probably wrap this live up, get the quick extra out of the way, and go from there. So thank you, everybody, for being with us. I'm going to end the live stream. Stay safe and check 6.
See ya.